Right. I think we're live. What is going on, everybody? If you are here watching live, obviously there's no one yet in the chat. But this is the first time we are going live on this channel, at least the two of us. I am, of course, Domovex. You probably saw me earlier on a near mid condition stream talking about all of DC's new books. But we're not talking about DC. I am here with Drew Morgan. And what are we talking about today, dude?
We're talking about Deadpool and Wolverine, or Deadpool 3, but I think the title was officially Deadpool and Wolverine.
That's what it looked like when the title card came
Yeah.
about. So.
Yeah, that's
Uh,
what it bills as. But yeah, we're talking about we both saw it. I saw the 5:45 time, and what time was your showing again?
3:30.
Okay. Cool. What did so tell me about your theater first, like because I saw it in like Esquire IMAX in
Mm-hmm.
Sacramento, and it's a sick theater, dude. Like the seats aren't great, but like
Mm-hmm.
the audio and the screen are sick.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know. What was your experience like?
So my theater, we have it's an AMC. Obviously AMC's are well everywhere across America, because it is what the number one theater that just runs everywhere. But there are two IMAX rooms, and then the rest of them are your standard, whatever you want to call it, screens.
Hmm.
But there's an IMAX 3D theater, and then there is a an IMAX theater. And I went to the IMAX 3D one because I only had one showing in the day, and it was at that time. But it's packed. We have reclining seats and cup holders, which is always a plus.
Yeah.
And obviously, if you watch it in IMAX, I think the only thing that happened today that was sort of like awkward was that the lights didn't go off as quick as they should have, which was kind
Mm,
of awkward. Because like for 5 minutes, I'm like, can we dim the lights? It's kind of hard to see with the glare,
yeah.
screen incoming. But otherwise, that's just it's what you would expect an AMC theater to have.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It sounds like someone just maybe forgot to dim the switches or something.
It unfortunately happens like almost every single movie I go to.
Damn.
Yeah, like it's kind of unfortunate. Even when I worked at a movie theater, um, because I got free tickets and all that stuff. Like even when I watch movies on myself, there there weren't, I guess, enough peeps to
Hmm.
like switch the lights off. But
Yeah. So the one that I go to doesn't have that problem because there's only one screen in this theater because it's in downtown Sac. And so they didn't like, when they like lease the location or whatever, there's not like a lot of floor space. They didn't build it for the theater. They like leased a pre-built location. Um, and it's just the one screen. So that's nice because the theater doesn't really ever get that busy. It doesn't get
mhm.
that crazy. Um, and you know that like you basically have the customer service's full attention, basically, you know. So I guess that's a good thing that I never really
Oh
considered.
yeah.
But yeah, I guess the only negative I had, which has nothing to do with the movie or the theater, is that the people behind me were so loud, dude.
Uh,
I was like, what are they like? It was crazy. Like, like there was one point where dude was just like repeating the lines that he said and like laughed like it was a joke. And it was like, yeah, like dude, everyone heard the joke, man. And
mhm. Right, like,
and
and you
sometimes,
you would you would expect if they're gonna
bro,
do that, like just laugh along and then be done over and keep
yeah.
watching the movie.
Oh no, yeah, these guys, I mean, these guys were maybe they were like drunk or something, dude. I think that's like the only explanation because I have no idea, dude. If it wasn't like I don't know, man. Because I've shushed people in theaters before. Like I've shushed plenty of people in theaters, and it's like my inner Stockton almost came out, bro. I was about to be like, dude, what the is wrong with you, man? Like shut up. But anyways,
You
I
were
was
you were
luckily,
actually Wolverine, but in the real life world instead of the
yeah,
movie
dude. I
world.
almost figured. I was thinking like I'm this close to figuring out how to get a cigar in here right now. Just to do the Wolverine bit.
Mhm.
Which I can, dude. If I could grow a full beard, I could definitely do the
Mhm. Oh,
Wolverine.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
oh
but I
yeah.
can't grow one, man.
Dude, you should have been like at the movie, be like, "Shut up, bub!" Like pulled out something and just like look back and then watch the movie.
Pull,
That's what I would have done,
pull out
honestly.
my knives.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, that would have went well.
Like, I mean, I think some theaters give out like plastic knives if you're like eating steak or something.
Oh, that's true. I don't like. I went to one of those theaters once and I ordered like a steak or whatever the hell it was on the menu, and they like came and brought it to me, and I was like, okay, that was cool, but this doesn't feel like, I don't know. I want my popcorn and my soda, man. And then I got my candy. I had the sour straws,
Mhm.
which,
Oh, okay.
yeah, dude, they're my favorite. They're like that. They had the strawberry only ones, and which sucks is it's very clear that the sour straws are, what do they call that? Shrinkflation.
Hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
dude, the straws are not. They're shorter now. Like they kept them the same like width or whatever because everyone knows how like wide they're supposed to be, but they're definitely shorter. I was like, what the heck is this?
Kind of unfortunate.
Uh, yeah, yeah, but man, gotta make more profits, I guess. So.
But yeah, cause yeah, my experience, I guess, with food was I am very stereotypical when it comes to purchasing food and eating food at movies. I always large popcorn and then ask for a refill or whatever, like some there during the middle of the movie. So I usually eat 1.5 to 2 buckets of large popcorn every time. I know that's gonna kick me in the butt when I'm 50, but I'm not there yet, so I can withhold or continue to withhold pushing that off. And then I always get a large drink. Now, the funny thing that happened today at the theater was that the person that I was talking to, um, or whatever, because I ordered the popcorn bucket and I got the Wolverine AMC exclusive popcorn bucket where he's like the mouth is like the opening and you put your hand inside the mouth. And my friend joked about it, and I guess this is the most R-rated I'll get on this podcast. But he said that the Wolverine bucket looks like if Logan was giving you a blowjob and you're just pushing your hand inside of it. But the lady who I ordered from was like, "Hey, do you like?" Because I ordered just a regular fountain drink. Because I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna spend a bajillion dollars on food and drinks. Because I'm like, it's a movie. It's not gonna be like my favorite movie experience. I already knew that going in. But she was like, "Hey, did you order the Deadpool or Wolverine special cup?" And I was like, in the back of my mind, okay, should I lie to her and be like, let me say one of these two? But I guess I kept my honesty is the best policy thing I said. Uh, I just ordered a regular fountain drink. But man, I could have swindled something easily to get the free Deadpool Wolverine special cup too. I'm like, man, it is what it is though.
Disappointed in you, man. Deadpool would have did it.
I guess
Deadpool
I'm.
would have been like both.
Oh, he would have been like, oh, yeah, I'll take the Wolverine one. Made some like weird splish splash joke. I also, yeah, probably could have gotten the Deadpool one to like sort of offset, like, oh, I'm drinking from a Deadpool cup and eating from a Wolverine popcorn bucket. That feels so weird to say, honestly. But they're really nice popcorn buckets. The Deadpool one was it's called a handpool bucket, and it's $10 more than the Wolverine bucket, but it's less space. It looks cooler, but it's a lot less space than the Deadpool one, unfortunately, or the Wolverine one, I should say.
Yeah, I actually, what's funny, dude? If you want one of those and you have a 3D printer, I know a website where you can get you can get the blueprints for it and then you can just print one out for yourself.
Hmm. We got a viewer, Uncanny Suit 97. Hello to you. We just saw it as well with low expectations. Honestly, had a very good time. And I had a very good time. We'll get to that in a minute. We're just going over non-spoilers, trying to see if we can get more people in the chat. So we appreciate you here. To the two people here who are watching, anyways. So, but yeah, like, okay, I'll also keep that 3D printer in mind. I guess I have to, right?
Yeah, if you have a 3D printer, I mean, they're hella expensive. I know a guy who has like three or four of them, and I'm just like, what?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, me too. It's
yeah, it's like a
crazy.
hobby of his or something. I don't know, man. It seems like if you have one, why would you need another one? But
Hmm.
I don't know. I'm not into 3D printing, so maybe that's why I just don't get it.
Hmm. They do cost a lot, like as far as capital and all the stuff that goes into it is concerned too. So yeah, I mean I wouldn't wish that upon yeah anyone, but it is like there are like a lot of people who are I guess fans of that as well. But yeah, okay, I guess I'll keep that in mind. But yeah, that was sort of my experience with the lady. Maybe man, I'm actually kicking myself in the butt right now because I could have been drinking from a Deadpool cup
That's true.
in the entire movie, and I guess I didn't get the I didn't take the chance.
I bet your soda would have tasted better too.
Oh, I drink. So here's the interesting thing about me. I actually do not. I've never drank soda before.
What?
Yeah,
Like
never.
like no soda ever?
No no Dr. Pepper, no Coke, no Pepsi, no Mountain Dew. People always look at me like I'm a weirdo when I say it, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you right now, I've never had soda.
So what do you drink at the theater?
Pink lemonade.
Okay, that's yeah, okay. I just like why? Why haven't you had soda?
I think what happened was when I was like 6 or 7, I must have like accidentally drank, like tasted some. Oh, you know what it was? I was in the Philippines, and I was like 6 or 7 years old. I was in like kindergarten, and we were at Jollibee, and I accidentally took my mom's cup, and she she gave like I thought it was my cup because like I usually get like high C or lemonade or juice or something. I drank from my mom's cup or whatever. It was I don't remember what soda it was. Once I tasted it and I realized it wasn't water or juice or milk, I spit it back at her. I didn't like inhale any of it. So yeah, I've officially never had it. I spit it back at her, got in trouble, got grounded. So that's my story behind the never had soda bit.
That's really funny. I do have a story about drinking from my mom's like it was like a Diet Pepsi or something at the time, or I don't remember what it was, but so my mom smokes cigarettes,
Mhm.
and if she ever watches this, she'll get like upset that I told people, but it's like everyone knows you smoke cigarettes, you know what I mean? So anyways, like I got in her car and I think she had picked me up from school or something. I don't know what it was, and I was like thirsty, and I was like, oh, thank God, like I'm thirsty. So I grabbed a it's a bottle, and it's see-through, but it's Diet Pepsi, so it just looks dark to me.
Mhm.
And I take a she I like unscrew the lid, and then like I start to sip it, and then like she's like, "Oh no, don't." And then like I kind of I'm like I start getting because she had put a cigarette out in it, dude. And like so it was just like stale, bubbleless, like no carbonated, flat Diet Pepsi with a cigarette in it. It was so freaking gross, dude.
Mhm.
Like maybe like the second grossest thing I've ever
Oh,
drinking on accident.
that's
Yeah.
disgusting.
Yeah,
Okay.
the worst thing I ever had was bad milk. But let's move past this.
uh, but yeah, like yeah, you know what? I had a nice time at the theater because in the IMAX seats that I was at, I was like off in the corner, and no one
Mhm.
sat next to me. I was like literally probably the only seat that was empty. Uh, and like I So I was like off in the corner, no one was there. I was just sitting, like I got my feet propped up on like on the recliner, just like man,
Nice.
no one is next to me. I will say that the only like annoying thing that happened during the movie, at least from a viewing experience, were like these two like teenagers, like 2 or 3 rows behind me, started like laughing weirdly and all that stuff. But it's weird though, because as the movie went on, you know what? I will consider myself the epic hype man because I was the hype man for like, oh, this is that character, and like getting the
Hmm.
crowd to like cheer up and scream. 'Cause, with my comic book knowledge and all that, I'm like, oh, that's who that person is, and all that. So whether it was someone who appeared in a cameo or someone who was like brand new or something, I was the first one to point it out, and at that time when I knew I had the crowd going and getting with the applause and all that, the teenagers actually shut up and like followed my suit. So I'm
That's
proud of
nice.
myself for that.
Yeah, that's really cool. There was a lot of like good moments in the movie where it was kind of worth the crowd cheering, you know? There like it was warranted. Sometimes like I'll be in a theater and people will start clapping and I'm like, "Really? You're clapping for that?" Like that's like awful. It reminds me of that Rick and Morty scene where he like people start booing him and he's like, "You think your boos bother me? I've seen what makes you cheer." That's what I think of. I'm like, but yeah, it's oh man, there were some good ones. You probably recognized way more cameos than me. I mean,
Oh,
I knew some of them because I was like, I like even the Avengers, you know what I mean? three volumes that I read, I was like, okay, I'm learning who these people are.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, there was that was sick. I don't know. Okay, anyway, sorry.
But yeah, speaking of cameos, I think because the first 15 minutes of the stream are up, so this is where we are going into spoiler territory. So,
Spoilers.
so yeah, for all of the four people right now on the stream who are watching, if you guys have not watched the movie, please go watch the movie first, so that you guys can get the full experience without the spoilers. And the first thing I actually want to note about this movie is that it's offensive in a good way. I think is a way I'd like to word it. Just in the case of there's no filter at all at
Hmm.
any point in this movie, which is great because not only did they understand the assignment with the R rating and utilize it to its full advantage, but it also whenever you had characters rolling, especially along with Logan, honestly, uncensored Logan is probably the best thing in this movie. You have certain points I thought where um, okay, like it's an R-rated movie. They're not gonna withhold anything back that would have been otherwise in a PG-13 flick. Like I think even Deadpool like makes a joke like, no, he's PG-13. He's always PG-13. I'm the one who's rated R. So kudos to Marvel for doing that.
Yeah, man, if I were to go back and rewatch it, I think I would definitely like want to keep a tally for the F bombs.
Yeah, me too.
Like any, and then for like each character too, because I think Logan might have the most.
He
I'm almost certain he does, like especially I don't know, there's just so many times. But and then man, yeah, definitely the F bombs. There, like you said, there were some moments where like if people like if people want to be offended, they could be offended. But I think that like there's some lines in it where like, yeah, maybe you're not supposed to say that or
Mhm.
what react to something in a certain way or something, but it's not like you're not laughing at the people that like something like that would be said to. You're laughing at the person who said it because they either misunderstood or it was like you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's a different kind of like presence, I
Mhm.
guess. Like
Right.
it's one thing to like want to offend someone, but it's another thing to laugh at the person who wants to offend that person. It's almost like a, oh man, like and then like spoil some of the characters are from at least their live action versions are from a different time
Mhm.
where some of the, I mean a lot of those words would have been said in a PG-13 movie or something. So yeah, times change with
Yeah, no,
especially.
they have for sure. And the movie is very well aware of that. Actually, that's one thing I can actually give this movie like a 5 out of 5 to is like awareness of the situations that not only the characters are in, but also like the greater world around us, and with all of the fourth wall breaking, which I thought was actually done to perfection. Because I think sometimes it like especially something like this, right? Where we have like a superhero, for example, like She-Hulk did this first in the 1980s, 90s. She was actually the first one to break
Really?
break the
But
comics, like
break the fourth wall?
break the fourth wall and talk to the reader directly.
Hmm.
Deadpool like sort of followed suit, but we don't have many characters like that in an essence. It would be weird like if Cyclops like got out of a fight and
Yeah.
started talking to an audience, right? But it's perfect for Deadpool. I guess in the fact that he's a funny guy and he's trying to make light of whatever the situation is that he's in, and yeah, I have to give an A+ to this movie for being aware of just overall everything. Like it's funny too because you mentioned how Deadpool, like there's no filters obviously, and whatever the presence is, like they have to sort of adjust to it. It's implied in this movie that Deadpool is a flat earther.
Yeah, yeah, because I think he calls someone a round earther or
Right. Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that.
I was like,
Who do you call that again?
he called. Yeah, I think because one of the people in his party, uh, and yeah,
Yeah,
talking about. I'm like, all right, I am not going to say anything to that to that sort, but I think that's just the type of character Wade Wilson is. He's very, very eccentric. I wouldn't exactly call him the world's most. I mean, Logan even says it like he's a terrible person. Like,
Hmm.
it's not. This isn't someone that I will be rooting for every single time. That's not his character. He's not a hero. And no way, for most of this film, anyways, do they try to just. I think most people, like Marvel, knows that this is a movie where we're gonna dedicate it to the action and the fan service, and I thought they did all that, like awareness again, pretty done,
Yeah.
like extremely well.
Yeah, I think if I had to go, I think overall, I'd give it an 8 out of 10, and I'll get to like I guess why I don't rank it higher later, like once we get to that part. But I think the comedy I thought was really good. I think this one was way funnier than the second one.
Me, yeah.
Um, I just remember not being super impressed with the second one. There were some cool things, but I wasn't like super like I love the first one. Second one was like not as I think didn't live up to the hype for me, but the third one definitely does. So yeah, I like the awareness, the situational awareness. I like the action was most of the action I'll say was really 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 good, and then um the comedy, man, the comedy was so good. Like I just think I think the writing was like at least comedy writing and like the suspense before punchline happens or whatever. I thought that was I feel like it was better than it might have been better than the first one, but I haven't seen the
Mm-hmm.
first one in a long time. Maybe I should
Mm-hmm.
have rewatched those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I should rewatch it. But it's all good. I just remember like the way I feel about the movie.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think when it comes to the writing too, again, like I think most of these writers are not expecting us to go like completely emotional in a Deadpool movie. You know exactly what you're getting in a Deadpool movie, which is laugh your socks off, very dark humor, and a bunch of blood thrown at your face, which is
Mhm.
what we got. And I probably agree with you too. I give it a 4 out of 5, 8 out of 10 on that scale. If I had to think about it or choose, but in that same form, like I think that part of what it restrains it is probably just because it is a Deadpool movie. Like we don't I did not get emotionally teary eyed as I guess as much as I've wanted to.
Sure.
And even in moments too where there are a couple of characters that we'll get to where they're having a one on one talk with each other. I sometimes like I wanted to like cry in those moments, but I couldn't completely connect because it is just a bloody, I guess, gore fest if you want to call it. Not that to say that it's often that point, but because like most of the action is spectacular in its own right. But I think where I'm just getting off was like, I mean, it's a fun like yeah, it's a very funny movie. I mean, it did its job in that case. Like I like there were good jokes thrown in there. And obviously, like, yeah, you want to laugh along with the audience too,
Yeah.
if you're in a packed theater.
Yeah, I think I'll push back a little bit on the Deadpool like emotional scenes
Mm-hmm.
because I forget. I think it's Deadpool 2. One of them made me like cry. I
Mm-hmm.
forget which one it was because um spoiler alert, his girlfriend, what's her name? She didn't really play a big part in this movie.
No,
You
I
know,
just,
she's
I
kind of
just,
a
I'm like
yeah,
Morena. Oh, Vanessa.
Vanessa. Yeah. Okay, I was like, is it Vanessa? I was like, no, that's the big bald white guy from Deadpool or not Deadpool, Daredevil. Kingpin. I was like,
Kingpin.
no,
Yeah.
that's Kingpin's girlfriend in the show. And I was like, okay, because I'm also watching Deadpool right now. So I was like, am I getting them confused? Oh, it is
Right.
Vanessa. But
Same
I
universe
love
now
her.
too, but yeah.
Yeah, I love her by the way because she's in one of my favorite shows ever,
Firefly.
Firefly.
Yep.
Dude, it's so
I'm
good.
so
But
I'm so
anyways,
surprised that Morena Baccarin isn't in more like movies. Like,
yeah,
yeah. But anyways, that's besides
yeah, I
the
don't
point.
know. I don't know why that is. Maybe she's more of a TV actress because there are some actors and actresses mostly stick to movies and some of them mostly stick to TV. It's just maybe it's like their agency or maybe it's their networking or something. I have no idea. But yeah, I feel like she didn't really play a big of role in this movie, and I'm not complaining about that, but I think that was something because like her I believe dying or something in the first film is kind of what drives a lot of the plot. Or maybe that's the second film too, but I remember one of them making me
Mm-hmm.
cry. So, but there wasn't that I didn't have that emotional connection in this one.
Mm-hmm.
And the scene, I think I know the scene you're talking about. It's like I'm not gonna lie, like I really liked Logan, the movie Logan,
Hmm.
right? But that movie did not make me cry. I like I totally could get why it could make someone feel really emotional, but I didn't get those emotions from the movie Logan. And so maybe I just feel like if that movie did make have a bigger impact on me, maybe that scene that is obviously supposed to be very emotional, is could have had a bigger impact on me, but it didn't. And so,
Hmm.
but maybe you're right. Maybe it's the execution or something. I don't know. But I totally agree that it wasn't they try to hit some of the emotional notes, and maybe it just doesn't get the mark that they're going for
Hmm.
or something.
Yeah,
But
no, I agree
yeah.
with you. Because I had a lot more of a weird ride with my feelings in those first two movies than I think I did here. It's weird too because Logan is pretty much is a character that is defined by decades of pain and suffering, and I thought that they would capitalize a lot more on that.
Hmm.
I guess they just didn't.
Yeah, I think I don't want to turn anyone away from
Mhm,
like what we're saying because
mhm,
I would definitely rewatch this movie again. I
mhm,
liked this movie a
mhm.
lot.
Me too.
Like I said, an 8 out of 10 for me, I think is pretty high. I also think that like just in the world of superhero movies, an 8 out of 10 is pretty good.
Right.
Like a 10 out of 10 for me would be Captain America Winter Soldier. Um, I'm trying to think of something that would be like a 5 out of 10 or something. Maybe like pick any of the Ant-Man movies. I don't know.
Yeah,
You know what
yeah.
I mean? Yeah. But so it's a good movie. It's just like I think my one complaint is that the plot kind of does seem all over the place. And I think that's the one complaint. Like I love the characters. I even like the dialogue. But it does feel like maybe there's a little bit too much going on at some parts. And I didn't. I mean, I like the length of the movie. I thought the length of the
Yeah,
movie was
the
like the
movie's
right
perfect.
amount. Yeah, they didn't try to make it like 2.5 hours or whatever, or 3 hours like some of these other films. Um, but yeah, I think that was my one complaint. But that's why it's not a 10 out of 10, right? It's because the plot was a little messy at some points. But it's still an 8 out of 10
Mhm.
because the rest of the movie is so damn good.
Right. And the in terms of the plot, I mean it's a pretty non-linear straightforward. I know that's an oxymoron in and of itself, but it's pretty non-linear straightforward because you do have Wade Wilson who is trying to figure out what his place is in the post-Foxman world
Hmm.
of okay, if I'm going to get introduced in the MCU and we already had a couple cameos of him killing Ryan Reynolds before he decides to cast himself as Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, in that debacle of a 2011 feature film. Uh, they I think did the best with the material that they were given, considering we already have a multiversal saga now, and all of that is being implemented. And you have to throw the TVA in there because it is a different universe, different times, and there's some anomalies, and I completely understand that. But yeah, it's like the weird bouncing back and forth between Cassandra Nova, who we'll get to in a moment, and also Mr. Paradox, or the people of the TVA who wanted to crack him down. I feel like if the movie was focused on one of those villains, and I think that's the whole, like we can get into the whole problem of two villains per comic book movies just not working out well unless you're like The Dark Knight or Batman Begins.
Hmm.
It's and like that movie sort of falls into that category where okay, if we're just focused on the TVA, and okay, like Deadpool wants to go home and save his family, that's a compelling plot in and of itself. Or
Hmm.
Cassandra Nova Xavier is like wreaking havoc on the world that she's in or whatever world she's in, and Deadpool and Wolverine have to stop him. That's a pretty compelling plot in and of itself. But there's just so much back and forth. I promise we'll get to if you guys are watching, we'll get to the good stuff in a second. But I do feel like it got a little bit cluttered at times, even though like I was enjoying myself. If I actually went, I guess sitting back down, I'm like, maybe they could have taken out some bit, like a bit of this, or restructured part, like some scenes where it fit better, made more sense with the overall narrative and what's going on.
Yeah, I think because I this is my first time hearing about Cassandra Nova, who apparently is an Omega level mutant, which is crazy. But I think that maybe she would have been better saved in a movie that actually had Professor Xavier in it.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I
I think
agree.
that would have been better. Like,
Oh, I agree.
yeah, I liked the moment when Logan says to her, like, he would have ripped the universe apart to be with you or to save you or something like that. I thought that's really cool. Like, it shows how highly Logan thinks of Charles,
Mm-hmm.
which is dope. But like, man, like I don't, I don't feel a connection to this character because she's not connected to any of the other characters in the movie. So yeah, but again, that's a plot thing. I think so in that sense, I think they should have probably just focused on Mr. Paradox, who I also don't know a lot about, but
I mean, he's a original character.
oh, is he?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. I didn't know that. Okay. But yeah, I mean that still could have worked though. It could have been Mr. Paradox puppeting a bunch of the, you know, Foxmen villains or whatever, but yeah, I not that I like it's not that I hated the characters. I just feel like, yeah, maybe you're right.
Mhm.
Maybe it's too many main villains or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah, and I again, it's not a shame on this movie. Like a lot of comic book movies have had this same problem. Like the first Aquaman had this problem where it was like Ocean Master and Black Manta trying to like destroy Aquaman. Where I'm just like, okay, you could make the narrative about Ocean Master and talking about, yeah, we're polluting the earth. You guys are making it worse for sea dwellers with all the toxins that you put in the air. Focus on that, or like Black Manta, where it's like this sort of revenge story because Aquaman, spoilers, killed his dad, and it's a whole like back and forth. But the movie like fails to focus on one, and I feel like yeah, the movie, this Deadpool and Wolverine movie should have probably just focused on one, or maybe used a different villain than Cassandra Nova, because while she is like really well written and menacing. Like she legitimately does feel like a threat because of the power that she holds, and not only that, but her like the structures within like where they are, right, in the void and being sent off and pruned to this far off wasteland. Um, I feel like yeah, she probably would have been better served as like if they made X Men, and done an adaptation of New X Men, which is where she comes from. That probably would have served it a lot better than a Deadpool Wolverine team up movie.
Yeah, and uh they had enough characters that I feel like they didn't need to like introduce her. There were so many characters that are in this movie that could have easily just acted as like, I guess, her her main thing or whatever. But yeah, anyways, that's pretty much that's my, I think,
Yeah,
like
those
my
are my
only
biggest complaint.
complaint.
Honestly, I don't.
Yeah,
I guess like this, it's not the music that they selected. I'm just talking about like the regular score. Kind of, I don't remember many like song like at least like
you're
tunes.
right.
Yeah, from
Yeah,
yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah, what movie do? Oh, so recently watching X-Men '97. One of the things I talked about was, dude, Storm's theme is just sick every single time, right? And we just finished watching X-Men '97, which just has sick music, man. Like throughout, like the intro song, obviously, but just the score throughout each episode is sick. And so maybe, yeah, you're right. I didn't notice that until you said that, but like I don't remember. I mean, I remember the songs that they played
Oh
because
yeah,
it's,
I do
yeah,
too. Like that's one of the best. That like it's kind of like the
yeah,
Guardians esque vibes, and oh let's use cool famous song to uh illustrate whatever the superheroes are doing, or whoever's like getting into, or whatever action scene. Um, I remember all of those. I was bopping to them in my car when I was on the way home. But as far as like regular scores entailed,
yeah.
yeah, kind of forgettable, honestly. And it's I know that superheroes moving, but again, it is what it is.
hmm but yeah, anyways, so I guess you want to go plot by plot and, or, like go
Mhm.
linearly through the plot and talk about all the cool stuff that happened then.
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about it. Also, we got another person. RL, welcome. This is a closed two-person panel, but you're free to join in to chat with us, talk about with us, etc. So yeah, I mean, plot-wise, Deadpool and Wolverine are, well, Deadpool, I should say, is narrating him getting arrested by the Time Variance Authority, these people who are in charge of making sure that every single timeline is straightened, that there are no interruptions. And then we get a flashback to why he's in here in the first place. And then the next thing is we get back to the present. We figure out he's getting recruited by the TVA because he wants to join the Avengers, become something bigger than himself. Bigger than himself. And Happy Hogan says, no, you can't talk to Tony Stark like that. So then he goes to TVA. They offer him the thing, and he says, no, I want to go save my world. And then we end up in the spot where we're at, where he's trying to resurrect the Logan that was killed off in the Fox universe. Then we get sent to. He actually gets pruned by the person because he gets electrified, shockified, whatever you want to call it. We get pulled into this weird void with him, and after recruiting like 15 Wolverines, he finally finds the right one, which is apparently the worst one.
Yeah,
Which was insane. Honestly, I think that was probably one of my favorite montage. Like, I love
dude,
montages,
that was good.
but that made me genuinely like laugh from the heart. Not just like I'm laughing along with the audience because it feels awkward if I don't. I'm talking about that actually got a good laugh out of me.
Yeah, the realistic, the comic book size Wolverine in the bar, the first one was
Mm-hmm.
really funny. Because Wolverine's supposed to be like, what is he? Supposed to be like 5'5" or something. He's supposed to
Yeah,
be
he's a
shorter.
short man, man.
Yeah, he's supposed to be a short king. And obviously Hugh Jackman, I think he's like in real life like 6'1" or something.
Yeah,
Like
he's
he's a
tall.
taller
He's a
guy.
tall guy.
So, um, but I think my favorite dude was a spoiler alert, I guess,
Mhm.
but Henry Cavill.
Yeah, yeah.
Like Henry Cavill's Wolverine was so funny, dude. Oh man, but also I just love Henry Cavill,
Mm.
and I thought he was cool as Superman, but like I love him in like everything that he's in. Like I just love Henry Cavill. He's sick.
He's also
Man,
sexy, dude. That guy's a good looking person.
yeah, bro, dude. Like yeah, when he's it's funny because you could tell too, because obviously Henry Cavill and Hugh Jackman, they're both like jacked, right?
Hmm.
Like I mean, I know Henry Cavill for sure. I mean, not Henry Cavill. I know Hugh Jackman for sure is, on the gear. Like, alleged, you know what I mean? I will assume he is on the gear. Henry Cavill, I'm pretty sure because he gets super jacked in some films. But at the same time, like, he looks like he could just have crazy gifted genetics, man. They're like a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a percent of dudes who
Hmm.
can look like him without doing steroids.
He's like
And they're
like Chris Hemsworth or like people like that.
Oh no, Chris Hemsworth's
Uh,
for sure on the steroids. Yeah, 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 yeah. No, like I would say Chris Hemsworth, Chris Evans when he's like peak Captain
Hmm.
America, and a lot of other people are probably on steroids. One of the things that I like to do is I like to compare how, like, because if you look at Hugh Jackman in the first X-Men movie
Hmm.
from like I think '99 or whenever
Yeah.
that movie came out to like I don't know, Days of a Future Past. It's like, dude, how does he look like he put on 30 pounds of lean muscle,
Mm.
like getting 15 or some 18 years older or something? Like that doesn't make any sense.
Hmm.
So that's when it's a clear sign of, I won't say clear sign, but it's a pretty obvious sign of steroids because like the just the way that like muscle is built for men, you know what I mean? Like when you're in your 20s, that's like you like peak there, like biologically or whatever, as far as like your ability to build muscle like naturally. It might be in the early 30s or something, but it's definitely not in your 40s, like Hugh Jackman is. So
Hmm.
yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not.
the Uncanny Suit 97 says the short Wolverine variant killed me, and I was like, yeah, it did too, because again, like he's supposed to be extremely short, but because of the conception that we've had in mainstream,
Mhm.
uh, we've just gotten the image that we've gotten in the last 25 years now, which is insane. Um, but you know that is it is what it is. And yeah, I mean he was super also a lot older than he was when he started off, and that's it feels, yeah, it feels impossible for anyone to, I guess, gain that short of notice or traction. Got my buddy Eddie Riemann saying, could it be possible Deadpool and Wolverine get Oscar awards as best leading role and supporting role if that's actually happened before?
I don't think so, unfortunately. I love the, I mean, like I said, I love the movie, but let's be real here. The Oscars, the panel that selects the movies or whatever, there's going to be a little bias there, right? It's very rare that more pop culture-y movies actually get nominated for stuff or win anything, unfortunately. But that would be hilarious though.
Yep.
It would be funny just because you could get like a Deadpool cameo
Mhm.
at the show,
Yep.
man. Like just holding the Oscar and then
Mhm.
probably not winning, and then he takes his hat off and it's actually Ryan Reynolds. That'd be so sick, dude.
That
That
would
would
be
be like
funny.
yeah, people would actually watch the Oscars. How about that? Like people would tune in.
That would be funny. That get like 50 million views in like the span of a year.
Yeah,
Um,
it might beat the Will Smith slap.
it
Was that the
would.
Oscars?
Yeah.
That was the Oscars, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It might beat the Will Smith slap.
Will Smith smacked the S out of me.
hmm
But yeah, like yeah, just continuing on, like you got more of those two adventuring out in whatever the wilderness is, and we get the really, really epic fight scene. It's or the first of many between him and Wade, with it being interrupted by the remains of Sabretooth from the original trilogy, and of course, I did not foresee this coming. I thought when I saw Chris Evans, I think a good amount of people in the
Bro.
theater probably thought it was like some messed up Captain America variant. So
That's what
consider
I thought.
right. So consider me shocked when I found out. Oh no, it's actually Human Torch,
That
Chris
was so
Evans.
good, dude. That was so that like twist, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Because it was so good. Because they even like they gave him like kind of like red, white, and blue kind of like garments, and like it was like, oh, it's like I can tell that's Chris Evans' voice. But what I liked is it's not giga jacked Chris Evans as Captain America. I was like, man, he looks thinner. I was like, I wonder if he's just thinner because he's not doing, the main Captain America movies or Avengers movies anymore. But then like they're like, he's about to say it. He's gonna say it, Avengers
Mm-hmm.
Assemble, and then he just goes, flame
Flame
on.
on.
Dude, I think the theater that I was in like erupted, man.
Yeah.
That might have been like the second or third loudest it got.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was there I'll tell you the first loudest when we get to it because that part was I was just like blown away. Like I couldn't believe it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I loved that. I loved Chris Evans. And I think it made sense too for like what happens in the film because obviously Human Torch, no pun intended, I think he's written this way for a reason, but is like a hothead. You know what I mean? Like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, at least that's what I remember
Mm-hmm.
from the original Fantastic Four movies, but or original adaptations, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he's like the girl, ladies guy, kind of just like, oh man, screw this, let's blah 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 blah. Blah. And that kind of made sense with what his character said and did in this movie.
Mm. Yeah, no, it made sense with the whole thing, and also like flaming out in the way that he did, no pun intended as well, also made sense. Because yeah, we get them captured by whatever on Earth the bad guys are that we thought of are, and then we get introduced to Cassandra Nova Xavier. I was the one shaking out of my seats. I was like, "Yo, that's Cassie Nova. That's Xavier's evil." Twisted twin who accidentally helped Sentinels kill off. You want to know? I'm not gonna spoil it. You should go read a new X-Men by Grant Morrison at some point whenever
You
you
haven't
have
read
time.
any of that.
So,
Okay.
I won't spoil like who she is there, but she is one of the best, if not the best, X-Men villain maybe ever. Maybe that's just my
Wow.
opinion. Yeah.
Wow,
So
that's
yeah, it's
crazy.
high praise from me, but I do love Cassandra Nova Xavier. Then we get introduced to her, and Deadpool has I was dying at the line where he sort of explains to her like, yeah, he said all of these like terrible things about you on our way here, and he's like, I don't even know what any of those words mean, and he's stuttering, so obviously he's lying. And then all the villains like pop in, like as like Deadpool is continuing the monologue, and then yeah, Cassandra Nova's just like, yeah, I'm gonna kill this fool. Goodbye.
I I think the exact hand movement she does is this, just
Mhm.
like
Yep.
that, and it's like, yeah, it's pretty gruesome.
Yeah, it is. It is. A couple of cameos in there too. I know that you saw Juggernaut, but do you remember the Red Devil that popped
That
up?
looked like, yeah, I was like, is why is it? Because to me, I was like, oh, that's Nightcrawler, but why is he red?
That's his dad.
Oh, is he in any of the films?
I,
Any of the
I
other
don't
films?
remember. I don't think so.
Oh, so was Nightcrawler, is Nightcrawler basically the same powers as his dad? Is there any like
Yeah,
any
it's like yeah,
differences?
yeah. No, he can
Okay.
teleport. It's weird because that whole thing with his name is Azazel, sort of like devil, all that
Oh,
stuff.
okay.
Um, But the thing is, his inclusion into the X-Men lore and canon was a retcon, and a retcon that is still considered by today to be one of the most polarizing retcons
Mm,
like ever. Because yeah, it's like Nightcrawler looks weird, right? Because he looks like he's a practicing Catholic, but looks like a devil and looks like because of the blue skin, the fur. He's like
hmm.
someone that you don't want to go near to. And then they made that from this cool like deeper meaning of the character to surface level because his dad was actually a devil, which sort of like takes all the nuance away. Um, but that's another story for another time. I just thought that was see I was the only one in the theater like jumping up and down when I saw Azazel because I legit like I didn't know that he'd be in the movie. Granted, he there wasn't much that he did anyways. That was just like a cool comic book nerdy thing for me. Oh, he's in okay. He was in First Class. Okay,
Oh,
I
I
don't
didn't remember
remember
that.
that.
Yeah.
uh,
All right, cool.
but yeah. So I was like thank you Eddie. I was just like okay I yeah again like no one clapped when I was jumping. I think that was the only time I actually felt a little awkward watching the movie. Was like, there's the guy, and no one else cared.
Yeah,
But a
I
lot
do
of
like the effect. The
mhm,
effect when he, sorry, with the effect when he like is whoosh, you know what I
mhm,
mean? Like when he's night crawling or
mhm.
whatever it's called.
I yeah,
But yeah.
bamfing.
Oh yeah,
Gotta
that's what it
gotta
is.
gotta gotta say the word, man. It's such a cool SFX.
Yeah, dude, I haven't read any of the comics
That's
yet, so
fair.
I,
That's
I
fair. That's
forget
fair.
that that's what it is.
That's fair. That's fair.
Okay.
That's fair. That's fair.
I apologize. I
No,
will
you're good.
atone.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm just messing. But yeah, like we had, yeah, you had that, and yeah, most of the theater like laughed for or screamed for Juggernaut
Yeah.
because yeah, like that was a big, probably the biggest like reveal there, a lot like alongside Human Torch. So yeah, and then the ensuing fight happens, and Wolverine and Deadpool also somehow don't miraculously die from the weird dragon kaiju like beast of a
Hmm.
cloud that sort of comes after them. And yeah, they head off to I guess as far off like that's where they meet the Deadpool core member where
Yeah.
he's like weirdly
Nice pool.
nice pool.
Yeah.
And the adorable little pupper that Deadpool has been trying to sway Moon over to himself.
Hmm.
Um, and and then they got the Honda Odyssey. Best part of the film, honestly. You know what? I love that scene with Wolverine and Deadpool like fighting in the forest. Not
Yeah.
only if in case for the part of their ensuing argument together, because honestly, some of the best part, most of the best parts of the movie for me were the character interactions and the way that characters bounce off of each other in certain situations where it feels a lot more organic instead of like awkwardly forced in or whatever. But also like you can't tell me that they weren't having sex off screen. I'm sorry. You just can't. It's in my head canon now.
Yeah, it actually, I think it does make sense, but yeah, that scene was so good, dude. I agree with you. Like the way characters interact feels very natural. And there's obviously like the innuendo in the Honda Odyssey, which is funny. Like it just like you just for not most because you actually see a lot of the fighting, but then like once it's kind of implied that they're fighting all night, which is funny. And but all you can see is the Honda Odyssey like rocking, which is funny. But like, yeah, like something that you said like the characters when they bounce off each other, like it feels natural and stuff like that. And I was like, oh yeah, like, and instantly my mind switched to uh Zack Snyder's Justice League, not the Snyder cut, but like the Justice League that he like started making. And I was like, dude, like, why does it feel like all the dialogue is super
It does,
forced?
yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't get that in this movie. So, um, yeah, I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it was nice that I wasn't just like, oh, why are they talking like that
I
in the
never felt like
film?
it's crazy. Like you have a lot of characters in this movie, but never once did I feel annoyed that someone was talking. Like it all
Yeah.
flows naturally. That's one thing I can commend the writing team for. Like even if the plot was a bit messed up in parts, when
Hmm.
you actually put two or three or sometimes 30 characters in a room, it doesn't feel like one is talking over the other in a weird sense of sort. Like when Deadpool is making a commotion or making some like weird grand speech about something, because see that is his character, it doesn't feel like okay he's being preachy or he's being out of his element in any case or regard. Like all of it feels natural within the flow in the sense of where they're going and considering. So like it's a testament to good like good overall dialogue, right? Also just understanding like this is how this character would interact if we place them in a row, and that's what we got too with the next scene as well with the
Yeah,
all the four cameos that I'm about
dude.
to.
Yeah, but okay, before we get to that, because I'm really excited about this part, because I was just like, I mean, this was when the theater started getting
Mhm.
really, I mean, it was loud in the whole first act
Oh
because
yeah,
lots of good jokes but these cameos were sick. But to emphasize the points you just made, I would not like I'm not familiar with like Hollywood writing processes. I don't, so I can't say this for sure, but I would 100% not be surprised if I found out that there were different writers for like dialogue
hmm
and then different writers for like the plot and different arcs. You know what I mean? Because I agree. We already talked about the plot being messy, but the actual dialogue, like characters talking, was really well done. And I think one of the reasons like that it doesn't come off as forced in Deadpool is because well, maybe not one, but a couple of reasons. One is like it doesn't feel like they're trying to force a quota for screen time or a quota for like line set or something because this is a Deadpool Wolverine movie, not an Avengers or Justice League film or something. And then two, because Deadpool can break the fourth wall, it it's almost like a hack, right? Like you can just save the dialogue process because he can just turn and be real with the audience, or he can reference something that like seems more real to the audience. So I think credit to the writers for taking advantage of that, I guess. But yeah. Anyways, now let's get into the cameos because I wanted to like compliment the writers on that part
yeah, no,
first. But
no,
dude,
for
this
sure.
cameo part, oh my god, I don't know. Oh god,
Did anyone in your theater scream for Jennifer Garner as Electro?
no. But it was, which is funny because she was the first one, right? The one, dude, it was the second one. When the second person
Mm-hmm.
walked out, that's when people went wild, dude.
Yeah.
And that was when I went wild too. I was
Mm-hmm.
like, dude, what? Oh my God. And God, yeah, Jennifer Garner's Elektra. I never actually watched the Elektra
It's not a good
movie.
movie.
Yeah, I
It's a
no, of
terrible
course
movie.
not. Of course not. I mean, d- dude, the Daredevil movie was awful. You know what I mean? I was thinking, man, is Ben Affleck going to show up? Because that would have been funny.
Right.
Because then you get like Batman references from Deadpool,
Mm-hmm.
probably. But
But I guess the whole thing with Daredevil was he died. Unfortunately died at some point. I guess Cassandra Nova just didn't have enough of him, if you want to call it that. Um, but yeah, like Jennifer Garner, I think it would have gotten like a lot more commotion if people were more attached to her character. But since her character isn't that great,
yeah,
um, just yeah, kind of unfortunate because Elektra is, I mean she is essential to Matt Murdock and a lot of that part of the like Hell's Kitchen. Like she is very important to the underside politics of New York, right? I guess just because like yeah, it didn't hit, no one felt it as well. But I still think it was cool that she got included in the movie though, if only for the I guess the brief stint. But yeah, Blade showing up,
Dude,
I was like, they did not. There's no.
it was so fun. It was so good, dude. Oh my God.
We had a entire row of people stand up when that happened. I I saw like the glasses. I know like something like a feature of. I was like, I stood up. I said, "That's Blade." I started clapping. Everyone like got up and clapped too. I was like, "Yo, man, this is hype up in here. Like, let's continue to talk about it."
That was sick, dude. I loved I have to maybe I should go back and rewatch the Blade movies because a lot of it's nostalgia for me. But that was like one of the first those were one of the some of the first like, like like live action films that were like decent quality, you know? Like yeah, you got some old movies from like the 80s or something and
Right.
I think other than that you get like
Right.
I remember Spawn, from those
Mm-hmm.
like kind of like 90s, late 90s films, right? But Blade really was cool because, like, man, Wesley Snipes is a cool Blade, bro.
Mm-hmm.
He is Blade in my mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, there's a hint later. He's like, "I'll always be the only Blade,"
Mm-hmm.
and then like Deadpool looks at the camera because he's like, "Hmm?"
We're
um,
produ I
but
found he's like I found out they're producing another Blade movie in the TV. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So like Marshala Ali is supposed to be the new Blade,
Mm-hmm.
but like that movie, it's been like in development hell or something, right?
Mm-hmm.
In pre-production hell.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't even know if they started
They
filming.
rewrote the script apparently like two or three times.
Yeah, dude. And like at this point, like Marshall Ali, like I mean, he's a fantastic actor, but like he's
He
getting
doesn't.
old, you know what
Right.
I
Yeah.
mean?
He
Like,
also doesn't deserve this waiting time.
yeah, yeah, exactly. He does for one, he doesn't deserve this waiting time. Two, like he's definitely getting older, and it's like maybe I don't know. I just feel like not that Blade is always supposed to be a younger character, but it like if you're trying to do the MCU thing, you probably want to get like a decade of movies out of him,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And you don't want to be like Liam Neeson in Taken 3 where they're like have to do 30 jump cuts when he's jumping over a fence. You know what I mean? Like I don't know if you've seen that scene, but it's awful, dude. So anyways, yeah, but Blade was awesome. I think it's also funny too because Ryan Reynolds is in Blade 3. Like I think he plays like the main villain or something
Yeah.
in Blade
Yeah.
3. Like I don't know, it's just
Yeah.
kind
So
of
it's like
funny.
a weird cavalcade of characters all mismashing together. One quick thing in the chat here: Hulk scene should have been longer. You know what?
The
I
witch
thought
scene?
with all the Wolverine recruitment scenes,
Oh
the
yeah, the
one where
montage.
I cannot. You know what? I actually want to give a quick shout out. They tried to do live action montages of super famous comic book covers. The comic book cover with Mark
Oh.
Silvestri where Wolverine is hanging
Yeah,
on the
yeah.
that is one of the most iconic Wolverine covers ever.
Oh, I didn't know
Mhm.
that. Okay, I was wondering. I was like, I don't know what this is a reference to, but
Yeah, they're
that's
all
awesome, dude.
yeah, and then
Yeah.
they did the one. It's by Todd McFarlane, the creator of Spawn. He drew the
Hmm.
cover. It's the one you've probably seen it too, where it's like Wolverine. He's like opening his mouth, like growling at the camera with his blade or his claws sheathing out, and in the reflection is a picture of the Hulk. You have probably
Oh.
seen that cover. It is one of the most well-known Wolverine covers of all time. It's not even a cover for Wolverine. It's a cover for Incredible Hulk.
Oh, I have seen this. I just looked it up. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that is a sick cover,
It is
dude.
one of the best, man.
Dude, that's so damn cool. This is Todd McFarlane did
That's
this?
Todd McFarlane.
Dude, I mean, that's gonna sell issues right there, man. Holy
It
crap.
has people have
People probably
done.
collect that.
Oh no, I mean that is a collector. Like if you are a collector, you need to get like that is an issue. Like doesn't matter. I think if you only like collect one series or a couple, yeah, that's what you should just have in your collection period.
Oh yeah, I'm seeing I just because I just Googled it, I just saw
It's also worth a lot of money.
yeah, an 8.0 from who rated this? An 8.0 from CBCS is going for 225 on eBay right now. And that's only an 8.0, dude.
Hmm.
Like if it's like a 9, it's probably going for like 1,000 or
Yeah. Oh yeah.
something.
No, it's hard to. Yeah, yeah, fine. But yeah, like yeah, stuff like that. Like that's I guess one thing we forgot to talk about in the montages is like they tried to homage certain comic book covers too. I think if you look up, if I'm getting this number wrong, I think it's Uncanny X-Men 244. I feel ashamed. 251. 251? No. Yeah,
250. Oh yeah, that's the
251.
X.
251.
That's the X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I found it really cool that they attempted to. I guess Wolverine lives in comic montages like every single other universe, which I think is a yeah, it's not a bad detail at all. Um, so yeah, no, I agree with you guys. The Hulk showing up in there was cool though. I will give him that. Um, but yeah, yeah, I guess to go back to all the cameos, obviously, yeah, they have the Wesley Snipes Blade. I kudos to them, honestly. I did not see that coming at all.
Dude, I had no idea. I mean, I'm so happy I was able to avoid spoilers because I didn't, you know what I mean? Like spoilers would have ruined a lot of it for me,
Oh
you
yeah.
know? But yeah, the dude, okay. We talked about Blade. I loved goddamn, what's his name? How am I forgetting his name? Gambit.
Yeah,
God,
yeah, come on,
Channing
man.
Tatum. Channing
Channing
Tatum as
Tatum's
Gambit.
Gambit. Yep.
Dude, his like Channing Tatum's Gambit was actually kind of cool, man. Like he did his own. He didn't just copy the X-Men Gambit voice too. He did like the Bayou voice,
Mm-hmm.
man. And like, yeah, if you ever listen to someone from the Bayou, you're like, what in the world is this person saying, dude?
Mm-hmm.
It's like this unique, complete, like you can see it. Like if you ever listen to an interview of someone who's from the Bayou, like in Louisiana, you're like, what? Like it doesn't sound like anything you've ever heard before. It legit sounds like that. It sounds like I think his name's Boomhauer on King of the Hill
Mm-hmm.
or something like that. But yeah, I actually really like Gambit. I like that they gave him the suit too, the classic Gambit
Oh
suit.
yeah.
Oh, that was the other thing, dude. We finally got Wolverine in the freaking X-Men suit, man. Not wearing those ridiculous whatever the hell they were wearing in the X-Men movies. Like, ah man, the
Yeah.
costume design was sick.
I appreciate that they put all the other Wolverine costumes too. Like my favorite is the classic. They mentioned in the film too the classic John Byrne
Hmm.
brown tan suit. That is my favorite Wolverine suit, and I'm really happy that they put that in there.
Is that the original?
No,
Oh, okay, okay.
but it
It's like a
is my
variant.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it is my favorite. If you held a gun to my head and asked me what's your favorite Logan suit, that would be my one.
I think it does fit him. Like when I saw him wearing it, or like when I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, that
Oh
like
yeah.
I've seen it before, right?
Hmm.
Because I think in Marvel versus Capcom, the games, I
Yeah, yeah.
think like
It's
if
probably yeah.
yeah, it's a variant skin or whatever the
Hmm.
heck it's called, or whatever it was called. Like if two people pick X-Men, one's the blue or the blue and yellow one, and the other
Hmm.
one's the one you're talking
And
about.
the
You
reason to why I prefer that one over the yellow and blue, because the yellow and blue one like signals that okay, like he's fighting with the X Men. The
know?
brown one signals okay, this is lone, like quote unquote lone gruff Wolverine, like as like him standing out amongst the rest and shining off where he needs to be. And even like as someone who doesn't particularly love Logan as a character or even like Logan as a character, I do think that it like him retrospectively being in that brown suit makes him stand out in a good fashion compared to the others wearing like the classic X-Men tights and undies. So
Yeah, I agree. It was yeah, the costume design in this, I was looking at it too because I was like, man, I wonder how they, because like these are real movie. I mean, these are real costumes that they're wearing, and I'm like, there are
mhm.
some hardcore cosplayers out there
Oh,
that,
I had a lot of them in my movie theater.
oh, that's so sick, dude. I didn't have any. I didn't see
Ah,
any cosplayers in mine. But maybe that's because it's like it was downtown Sacramento. I don't
mm,
know. I feel like maybe the cosplayers are more like Bay Area y,
mm,
kind of where you are. But yeah, like I didn't have. I was surprised actually. I was surprised. I saw a lot of X-Men shirts, but I
mm.
didn't see any no cosplayers at all.
I feel bad because I was wearing a Dodger shirt because my X Men and all my Marvel shirts are in like the laundry and I don't do the laundry until Fridays and yeah, I felt bad because I was on the phone with somebody while I was in line to go pick up the popcorn. I was like talking about like a whole bunch of like comic book stuff with my friend because it was like, hey, like I saw you on the streamer, blah blah, like blah blah blah. And I'm like, you know, and all that. And I got off the phone. They're like, wait, you like comics? I'm like, what movie did you think I was here for? Despicable Me 4?
Which is hilarious that you say that because I think Deadpool says to Gambit, he says something like, "Dude, who's your dialect coach? A
The
minion or the
minion,
minions or something like
yeah,
that?"
the whole entire room laughed when they heard it, and I
Yeah.
appreciate that it came off at like the perfect time too. In the case of like you have Despicable Me 4 coming out at the same time, obviously it's gonna draw on big box office numbers because people like dumb things. I compare it to like why do you think McDonald's sells the most burgers? It's not because they're
Hmm.
the best. It's because people like the same stuff over and over if you give them
They
something
like
different.
trash.
They do.
Yeah.
They do. We could say that alright, but Illumination Studios, they know what they're selling, etc. What I appreciate about this film is that like like it had a couple of references too, like Mad Max got thrown in there, and
Hmm.
a good chunk of the movie is very Mad Max like for that specific reason.
Yeah, even when like the when we're introduced to some of the antagonist characters, like the it's obviously like trying to parody Mad Max. And yeah, like the I mean that's kind of like the whole aesthetic of like that part of the void. Which I was gonna ask by the way, is this what because the what's it called? The big sky thing, right? Eliath, I think is its name. Is that's from Loki, right?
Yeah,
The
it's all for yeah. This is like a lot of the setup for this movie is all from Loki. One of my favorite shows. I guess you could call it out of the bunch. Like
yeah.
like it's I usually don't give MCU shows that high praise because we've talked about it on this show before,
Hmm.
where it feels like you could have just made this a movie instead of a TV show. But that TV show actually, like, I'll give them credit. I was very well pleased with that one because they did try something different and it worked.
I think, yeah, I think it was one of the first ones they did though, wasn't it?
It
Because
was
it was
like
before Scarlet Witch.
no, Scarlet Witch was the first one.
Oh, it was?
Yeah,
Oh, I thought WandaVision, oh, WandaVision, that's what it's called.
still
I
on a
thought
vision.
WandaVision was after. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Loki was like it was after it was after Captain America and the or Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I keep calling it Captain America because Sam's Cap now. Whatever, it's Falcon and the Winter Soldier, and then it went to Loki, I think.
Damn,
So
I totally skipped those other shows. I don't know. I only watched season one of Loki, and I haven't even watched the last episode. So,
mm.
but I should probably watch that because I did like it. I just got kind of
Yeah,
bored with
the
the
movie, yeah, the second
yeah.
season ended off pretty well too. Like it's
That's good. That's always exciting because the
mm,
second season of House of the Dragon, man, is a drag. Like, oh, God. I know we're not talking about that
mm,
show, but
mm,
geez, man, I'm like,
mm.
dude, are they gonna? Is
You
anything gonna happen? Like, I don't. I mean, how
um,
long can the characters be the same? Anyway, sorry,
but no, it's all
wrong
good.
show.
It's all good. But yeah, no, I mean I agree with you in the sense there. You have, I guess going back to on track, we also have uh Laura Kinney, aka or formerly known, I guess in this universe as X-23 and also mostly known as X-23. She also shows up. She is actually my favorite of the Wolverine family, if that's what you want to call them. I actually find her character a lot more a lot more what's the word for it that I'm looking for?
It sounded like you were gonna say compelling, but that's not the word you want, or
No, it's no
complete.
not complete because like Logan is a pretty compelling character. I just don't care. I
Oh,
I maybe it's just because I was like when I got I guess I watched X-Men Evolution, all these like other different shows because that's where she was introduced. She was introduced in X-Men Evolution before they took her, put in the comics. Sort of went off from there. Maybe it's just because like me like being younger and her being like a lot younger than Logan found a lot me like I guess I found it easier to relate to her going through her struggles than it was for me like looking at this like old gruff short guy who complained 24/7 starts murdering people. um
yeah.
but yeah, I appreciate that she got thrown in there. You know, actually that part got spoiled for me because I think it was like second to last day. I think the final trailer came out or whatever. A lot of people were complaining that like, why didn't you promote her for most of the movie if she was gonna like have some weird part, big part in it or what? I was like, oh man, I I wish I didn't know that, but
Was she in the last trailer?
I think she was something like that. She was either in the
Okay.
last trailer or she was part of the or the actress who played her was part of the premiere or the global
Oh.
premiere, and it started showing
Oh.
pictures of her. I'm like, okay, I
Okay.
think that's probably what it was.
Yeah. I mean, that's, yeah, I can see why. Like, that is obviously a spoiler. Like, why would she be there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, why would she do the red carpet walk or whatever?
Hmm.
Yeah, I did not, I avoided, like I said, I avoided pretty much all spoilers. The only spoiler I knew is that obviously Logan was in it, or the Wolverine. That's literally it. Like, I didn't, uh, yeah, I mean, I'm just happy. I was happy to avoid all those spoilers because, man, I think one of the things too, I like the way they showed Gambit's power
Oh
when
yeah.
in the fight scene.
Oh
Yeah,
man.
I thought that was really cool. You know, I went on Reddit afterwards and was like, someone was just like, man, like Gambit's getting a lot of love this year. Like this is the year of Gambit. You know, obviously like X-Men 97, he goes out with a bang.
Hmm.
You know,
Literally.
but yeah, literally. But at the same time, like his fight scenes in here were really cool, which is cool. Is funny because obviously it's Channing Tatum. Is it? It was Channing
That was
Tatum,
Channing
right?
Tatum.
Okay, so it's Channing Tatum as Gambit in this film, but the one who plays him in the X-Men Origins Wolverine is Taylor Kitsch or
Yeah.
something like
Hmm.
that, however his name's pronounced. And like now that I've like even put those two together in my mind, they kind of do look alike in some
I can
ways.
see where you're. Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know. I was just God, I love that they gave Gambit his weird hat thing that he wears or his weird face thing, you know what I mean? Like I don't know what that is. Maybe you do, maybe you know why he wears it, but I was like, "Oh wow, like it doesn't look like it
Yeah. It
looks
doesn't look.
fine on
Yeah. Yeah.
screen."
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's like why don't they just But then again, like Gambit besides X-Men Origins Wolverine, is he in any of the other films?
I don't remember him being in any of the other films.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, cool. Because like it does make me wonder, like, why isn't he in any of the other films? I feel like I know his power is pretty straightforward, and he's a favorite of
Mm.
people's. You
Yeah.
know.
So my friend, I guess I'll venture into the R rating territory here, is that we have or he has certain names that I guess like a lot of X fans like to call pieces of clothing for particular characters. So for example, you know how Cyclops has like, the whole like entire thing
Hmm.
going around his head? He calls whatever he's wearing on his head a condom because it is. And he's not wrong.
That's a funny. I get it, dude. You know.
And I remember talking to him. We were talking about like headcanons or whatever, and I asked him like what Gene would think about his costume, and he said if Gene or whoever he's dating sees that like they like or like told him like okay change what you wear out in the battlefield, they would rip apart the condom so that his hair would flow out. And honest,
Oh yes.
and he looks a lot better without it. Um, Kind of like how Gambit sort of
Yeah.
yeah has the thing. It
I
makes
mean,
sense, right?
yeah. I mean, Gambit's got great hair.
Yeah.
Like, why would
Why
you
would
want
you
to
why,
cover it
why
up?
would you hide that?
Yeah,
Scott has
dude.
good hair too. I don't see
Yeah.
why he would ever or should hide it.
Yeah, look,
Um,
hey, look, yeah, let's take a moment. We're Filipinos on the show right now, right? We know a thing or two about good hair, okay? Man, dude, it's so funny when I go like I remember I went into this haircut place or whatever. I think they were Vietnamese, but
mhm.
I sat down and they were like, "Oh, you got that good Asian hair." And I was like, "Yeah, I guess I do." Because I just have like thick hair
Mhm.
that just
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's probably like me. Like I'm trying to grow it into. I actually asked my barber last week, could you give me the Cyclops X-Men 97 cut? And he shortened it for the summer, but it's eventually gonna like I have it parted 40/60. So when I eventually get to it, like I'll have the hair like big and flowing from both sides and back. It's gonna look good. But yeah, like hair, free the hair for honestly all superheroes. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe this is why maybe I'm impartial to Robin in this case because he doesn't he lets the hair flow. It's just the mask.
Yeah, I'm actually looking at X-Men 97 and yeah, obviously like he has the hair flowing, so
Yeah, so that's what I'm.
it's a way better look, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My friend calls Gambit's. He doesn't call it a condom because obviously there's hair showing. He calls it a head
Yeah.
sock.
Okay, okay. I
Yeah.
thought I knew it was gonna be something like that. I thought it was gonna be like foreskin or something.
Hmm.
I don't know what I thought that's what he was gonna call it, but okay, head sock. That's not nearly as bad as the condom, I guess. Um, man, I'm a like I think I've told you, but I'm reading Invincible right now, and I think that's
Hmm.
one of the reasons why Invincible's costume looks
Oh
pretty
yeah.
good is
Right.
because his hair's out,
His hair's
Yeah, that's his
maybe
hair flow,
we
dude.
gotta we get maybe this has to be a thing for us. Like Superman shows his hair. Obviously, I know that like because like the whole Clark Kent thing is like his regular civilian persona, but that doesn't mean that you can't have your hair flow. Like Charles Xavier doesn't try to hide his baldness. So why are men trying to hide their hair? That's my new argument. If Charles Xavier is not afraid to show out that he is bald, why can't superhero, assigned male, or any type of male or people who present as male characters, why can't they also show their hair?
Dude, even women characters
Mm-hmm.
or women presenting
Mm-hmm.
characters, like I don't know, like
Jean Grey
it.
and Storm present their hair all the time.
Yeah, it
Rogue,
Storm's got sick hair,
she
bro. Like
does.
Mohawk style or regular
Mm-hmm.
style, she's got sick hair, so it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I don't know. I know that's a weird. I appreciate that we had this conversation because honestly, it bugs me to think that like once my friend showed me, oh, this is what Cyclops looks like if he wasn't wearing that condom. I have been on this adventure to try to get people as much out of the we need to hide our like if you have cool hair you should show it out in battle. I don't you get tugged. I don't care. You already know if you're going into battle you're going to get hurt anyway, so what's the point? You probably have like an A+ barber cutting your hair regardless. Wolverine's
True.
also probably a good barber too, honestly. The way like he sheeds and cuts, he's probably a good barber too. I'm
Yeah.
gonna add that to my head canon.
So the plus side is his blade will never dull. So you're always going to get a really clean cut, clean
Mm-hmm.
shave, right? The downside is I feel like he's not great at like what a good barber like because good barber most a good barber is obviously good at cutting your hair, but a great barber is also good at just like talking to you, and that's not Wolverine, man.
That's definitely not.
Wolverine is yeah, so
But if he's giving it to his teammates, I think that like it'd be a lot less awkward for him, and they can just talk about like strategy or whatever.
true.
So that's a good point, though. I like like in public. Oh, he would never ever like even if he charged like you asked him, I'll give you $100 to cut my hair. I don't think he'd do it. I don't think that's his character.
Oh
Um,
no, for sure.
um, but oh yeah. Anyways, continuing on with the movie because yeah, Gambit. They did Gambit really well in this movie. I have to give the writers team all the hugs for giving Remy LeBeau fans the epicness that they so rightfully deserved. Honestly, like
Yeah.
the whole the special effects in this movie were pretty fantastic, and I know that Marvel has been pretty shoddy about overworking all of the VFX teams that they outsource these movies to. But never once in this movie did I go, that looks a little bit out of place. Like sometimes like you'll get the weird CGI um like
Oh god,
old faces downturned to like new. They didn't do any of that here.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's I mean what's nice too is like obviously it's easy for I feel like it's easy for Deadpool because he's wearing a full suit, so you can always put a stunt double in there, and he's the stunt
Mm-hmm.
double's doing all the flips and all the tricks and all that stuff. But yeah, like I noticed, I was like, okay, clearly, I was like, Channing Tatum's clearly not the one in the Remy LeBeau or whatever suit right now. So like, but you could tell like it was still like well done and well choreographed. So you weren't exactly seeing his face, but you were seeing like parts of his face, but you couldn't tell it wasn't Channing Tatum. And man, yeah, the special effects were good. I think the only fight scene I really thought was a little bit messier, but so I will say like it paid off is when they do show up in the third act, and they're like, trying to get through Cassandra Snow's fortress or whatever, and it's everyone fighting. I was like, oh man, like this is getting kind of messy. Like I want to like really focus, but then it does focus. Like we get to see like Gambit do his thing, and Elektra's kind of doing her thing too. But it's like what she got? She's like she's got the Raphael Ninja Turtle swords, whatever those things are called. Like you know what I
The
mean? Like
katanas.
they're not katanas.
Wait, hold on,
Katanas are
hold
what
on. No, 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 no. What are they called? I feel. You know what? I'm a fake fan. I'm a fake fan for not knowing
yeah,
this off the bat.
katanas are what Deadpool has. But I don't know what Elektra. I forget what those things are called. Um, but yeah, like I'm like, okay, cool, like that's whatever. But it was great seeing like we got to see Blade do his thing too for a sec, and he shoots his gun, and I was like, oh, that's sick, dude. Seeing Blade go from freaking, blades to gun was really cool, which fits obviously in a
Hmm.
Deadpool movie. Um,
I like that Laura Kinney. So she has two claws in both of her
mhm.
hands, but she also has an additional one on both of her feet, and I appreciate
Yep.
that this movie put that in as well. Like, oh, we're not gonna do the three. Like, I thought that was cool.
Yeah, she got to use her foot knives or whatever the hell they would be called or something. But yeah, that was good. I was like, oh yeah, I forgot she has those. Like I like totally was just like,
Oh,
oh
the
yeah.
twin sai. That's what they're called. Gosh, I feel so bad. I feel so
God,
bad
yeah,
for not
there we
as
go.
as Daredevil, as someone who has read almost every single modern Daredevil run after 1984. I feel really bad that I forgot those. So
That's really
I
funny.
need to get my nerd card uh revoked. That's what
There you
needs to
go.
happen. Um, but to roll back to the thing I was talking about earlier, with the emotional scenes and the emotional impact. Obviously, like after we get introduced or to all of the characters that are gonna show up in this movie that aren't just glorified cameos, like people who actually have some stakes in this movie. You have the entire scene with Laura Kinney and Logan talking to each other at the campfire wherever the house is.
Mm,
And Logan is pretty much telling her like why are you here? And it's clear like okay, this is the scene where the character finds extra motivation to do the thing that they're supposed to be doing instead of sulking around and not getting anything done. I think if the movie or something, or if maybe something was shown where we could get some more connection between the both of them, not just like, oh, in my universe, your Logan did this, or in my universe, Laura did this. Instead of maybe that, maybe, I don't know, change it up a bit, or have it be like, oh, Laura knows Logan from someplace somewhere. But it feels like it's just like, yeah, two mishmashed, weird circumstances, like forcing these two together, and Laura has to say something, or else no one's gonna pop up. And obviously Logan's obvious, like no matter what, just because that's just the way the plot and story has to go. We sort of get to a point where, oh, okay, Logan's gonna join the fight, obviously. Um, yeah, I wanted to cry there, but I didn't. Because I knew like that was the
yeah.
whole point. Like the whole movie theater went silent, except for like that one joke Logan says at like the beginning. I can't remember what he said, but
Yeah. I knew that's the scene that we were talking about earlier. And yeah, I think part of it too is because like that Logan, like I mean, you kind of already mentioned this, but that Logan doesn't actually know her, he has no experience with her. And so his like exposition of emotions that's happening in that scene doesn't like it feel like for him, he's not talking to someone that he knows or asking forgiveness or something like that. That like it, yeah, sure, it's X-23 when he's talking, the person he's talking to, and we have that context. But for him, that could just be like a random person on the subway. There's not really a lot that's connecting those two actual people there. And when we talked, I mean, I talked about this in when we talked about Multiverse of Madness in like our very first episode, where it's like these are two different characters. Like, yeah, they look the same and whatever, but like there are differences, obviously. And the different anytime there's a multiverse thing or whatever, the point is that usually they're
Hmm.
everything's not the same in the different multiverses. Otherwise, why the hell would we go to a different universe if everything was the same? Because you know what I mean? It
Hmm.
just wouldn't make anything interesting. And but yeah, so that I think that disconnected me from the emotions
Hmm.
there. Because like Logan's crying, he's like actually crying. But the other thing that disconnected me too was the aesthetics. Like I was like, why are Logan's arms oiled up right now? Like, why are they so shiny?
Hmm.
And like, is he sweating from being so close to the fire? Like, I don't. I genuinely was just like, why does he look like he's in battle right now?
Hmm.
And so maybe that was like a special effects mishap, or maybe like they just filmed a bunch of scenes back to back and didn't dry his arms off or something. But I was like, this doesn't really make any sense. Like, it's not. And
I
like,
don't
if
think
you're
that's
that
how my human body works when I'm near a campfire.
exactly, it's like, dude, if you're that sweaty, why are you near a campfire?
You
Like
should
you
not
would
be
be,
near a campfire right
yeah, you
now.
back away. You'd be like, oh man, it's kind of hot.
Exactly. But
But yeah.
but yeah, like if there was like a central theme, and I'll always compare it to the two Spider-Verse movies that come out because they do. This is where you do the multiverse stuff, in my opinion. Honestly, like the best. Um,
Hmm.
like there's a central theme going on. It's like when Peter B. Parker um tells Miles like, yeah, takes a leap of faith, or at the the scene, spoilers, where they're all at the Spider Society and they're talking about canon events. The whole central theme there is pain, there is an understanding that all of them have because they've all gone through it together. Like, yeah, the experiences sort of might be different. um
Yeah, minor
but my
variances, but
right.
there's like, oh, how did your Uncle Ben die? Oh, mine died this way, or you know what I mean? Or oh, my Uncle Ben didn't die. It was my Aunt May or
Mhm.
something. But yeah, there is the tragedy that acts as a catalyst for like the main development of certain characters. That is a consistent, like a canon event. But yeah, so yeah, no, I totally agree. But I was just,
Yeah,
piggybacking
no,
on what
yeah,
you
yeah,
said.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, and I think if there was something that sort of tethered those two together, maybe Logan and Laura talk about their time or what, because like both are have been experimented on by Weapon X, or maybe something like along those lines. Give us that exposition dump of, hey, I know if you've gone through, or like, oh, I'm a clone of you that acts like like you're like a father figure to me or something like that, where it gives us more of a reason to connect and tether these two together than what we've already gotten. And I think if we had gotten something like that, I actually probably could have gotten a tear shed from my eye. But we did it because all of it is like motivation for you're not, yeah, you were never the worst one, which is a decent line,
Hmm.
but I just wanted more meat to it, and like in the build up to her saying that instead of um like I guess this one liner that doesn't sort of roll off the tongue or get the emotions flowing like they should have.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe that might have been a little bit better. I think one of the problems too is I think because the plot is kind of messy already. Because I mean, this is about, it's a little bit more than halfway through the movie at this point, right? It's like basically like it's leading up to Act Three, if not the beginning of Act Three. And so at that point, I recognize it as a viewer. I'm like, okay, there's a lot of stuff going on that besides either being a cool moment or just kind of being a gag or something because it's a funny film, there's not really a lot that, not a lot, but like there's a lot of the plot is kind of just like, oh, this is just thrown in. And so maybe that's why I was also disconnected. Like, it's not, yeah, you can have great characters and great dialogue, but if the plot isn't all connected in a way that, you know, makes me more invested in what the characters are doing and their motivations and stuff, then it is going to be more difficult for me to develop an emotional connection. Even if the actors are very compelling. And I mean, you see this all the time. Like you'll see phenomenal actors that they can deliver their lines. They're Oscar winners, Emmy winners, and all that stuff, right? And Hugh Jackman's he's a great actor. But like if the plot isn't stringing everything together in a way that keeps me emotionally invested, then it doesn't matter what the characters say or do. I'm not gonna cry. Like that's just how it is. So
Yeah.
I think that could be it too.
Yeah, no, it's definitely the understanding of like yeah, where you're at as a like an audience member trying to figure out a way to sympathize with some of these characters. But if you have so many different characters from so many different walks of like we don't like Deadpool and Wolverine aren't teaming up like in the same form or fashion as like oh this is going to be the last we ever see of the Fox movies. I sort of like oh, okay this is the final send off or the send off that it deserves. But if you're already coming up from the understanding of these are a bunch of different universes that we all might not even have connections to. Like there are, I guarantee you, there are going to be a bunch of people who watch these movies and don't know who any of these characters are or why they're here.
Hmm. Oh
Um,
yeah.
like why are people clapping for Wesley Snipes' Blade? Why are people apprehensive when they see Jennifer Garner as Elektra? Why are we so excited to see like Laura Kinney as like returning in her role as the pseudo character under Wolverine? Um, and obviously, like yeah, we get to the bigger and better climax. Yeah, like the climax of the movie when all things come ahead, right? Because they try to get to Cassandra Nova. I actually like this part of the movie where she sort of like gives them an option. Well, first off, like you have the whole Cassandra trying to get into Logan's head, trying to
Hmm.
see like where he's at. It's just like a bunch of graves. Um, I sort of like Logan trying to resist too until Deadpool can put on Juggernaut's helmet. Um, I also appreciate the fact that Logan sort of grows as a character and realizes that like, yeah, the guy might have lied to me, but we've already gotten here to a point. Why would we break this off now? And yeah, I
I think
like.
you mean a educated wish.
What would that be? It wouldn't be called a hypothesis. It'd be like I don't know Greek or Latin roots well, but you probably know of the
So a hypothesis is basically an educated
guess.
conclusion or an
Right, right.
educated guess,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it is, you're taking the information that you have and you are trying to develop an explanation. And so that is a an educated guess. An educated wish. I don't know if there's a Latin term for that.
Uh,
Yeah, a lot of communication does use freaking Latin, and I'm
yep.
just like, dude, like, why do? Man, you know what's funny? I make this joke in a lot of my classes, and a lot of my students think that I'm being serious when I say this, and so I stopped saying this joke. But like, I would make a joke about like, oh yeah, Aristotle came up with this, and it's called pathos, logos, ethos, and because that's what those words are in Latin. And then I'll tell them like what we would call this in English or something, what this basically means in English. I was like, you know what I say when people want to speak Latin in front of me? I'm like, dude, we speak English in America, okay? Um, and then but people don't get it. They think I'm being serious or something, dude. So I can't say that joke anymore because it's like, dude, I'm talking about Latin. I'm not saying it to like people speaking Spanish. Like I would never say that. I'm talking about Latin, which like unless you're in the Catholic Church is a dead language. You know what I mean? Like what the heck? Anyways, it's a little bit of a tangent there, but yeah. So um yeah, I don't know what educated wish would
I don't
be,
know how to
but
shade it
yeah.
like if there's like a Latin or Greek equivalent or translation or something. Because I'm like, okay, if educated guess is what a hypothesis is, anyways, it's besides the point. We got character growth from Wolverine, epic slow mo montage of them getting to the Doctor Strange. I actually want to figure out which magician Cassandra Nova killed to get. Um,
Oh, yeah. I assumed it was like a different version of Doctor Strange.
maybe
That's what I assumed. Who was it not his ring or does he have a unique I don't know. You
he
would
does
know,
not.
but like
He does
okay.
at
Because
least in the yeah. I would know.
okay. I didn't even suspect that it would be a different Doctor Strange. I thought it would just be like or a different magician. I just assumed it was Doctor Strange.
Mm-hmm.
And when she called him an amateur magician, it was because she's so powerful that Doctor Strange didn't even stand a chance, which she is so powerful. I didn't realize she was an Omega. I didn't know who she was before this movie, and I had
Mm-hmm.
no idea she was an Omega level mutant. So I feel like she would probably wipe the floor with Doctor Strange, especially if he doesn't have the time stone,
Oh yeah.
probably. But yeah.
Um, yeah. Uh, who knows? But I guess like yeah, because movie moves forward along. You have the guy who tried to shoot her. Honestly, another good comedy bit. The guy, like a guy trying to steal Deadpool Wolverine's like glory and trying to figure out, okay, do you want to kill her? No, no, no. This is my movie. Like, let me kill her. And this guy who had one of the people under her is like, yeah, I finally got the chance to kill you and shoot you. And then Wolverine and Deadpool are just like, why? Why bother interrupting? Doesn't make sense. Um, and then yeah, she tells them, oh, like, you know, they're doing this thing for a thing called the Time Variance Authority, and this is what they do, blah 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 blah. And then you get to Deadpool and Wolverine getting back to their regular universe where they meet up with the Deadpool Corps, who get. It's weird to have like the inclusion of this, honestly, because like Marvel reprinted a trade paperback called the Deadpool Corps, where like it's just a bunch of their appearances in comics showing up. So you know,
Hmm.
maybe spoilers for me there. I'm like, oh, okay, that's why they printed this book out. So like they fight them. Cool, another cool action scene. I will give them that. And they get distracted by Ted Lasso. You know, that's another thing too. I can
Oh, I didn't realize that's Ted Lasso. I didn't realize that's the same actor.
I thought yeah. Unless
Huh.
I'm blanking. Maybe. Anyways, you can correct me in the comment section if I'm wrong. Um, but I yelled out like, "Oh, that's Ted Lasso in the movie," and everyone started clapping. I'm like, "Wait, what?" I just
They at this point they thought Ted Lasso wasn't a superhero or
I said,
something.
that's it's the craziness. So yeah, they're like, oh, like, you know, we have our Deadpool Peter, whoever it is, and then yeah, they have to stop the whole the MacGuffin, which is the time diffuser, whatever it's called, created by the TVA, and this whole like matter versus antimatter. They have to split it, and then you get this like, you know, actually, this is a good like I thought this was a decent emotional scene where um, Deadpool tries to be a hero. Then you get more of the audience laughing because he's like, bye Logan," like 15 different times because he's like anxious that he doesn't want to do it. And then Logan's just like, he bashes down the door, and we see him. Oh, he made it. And then that's the end of or this version of Cassandra Nova Xavier. Because I really wish that she could show up in some more different movies, but that is the end of her.
Yeah. I
Um,
mean, I feel like she probably will. I don't know. Like, I don't know. I'm if she's I feel like Disney's gonna want to do something with X-Men, because it's such a popular series, and just listening to you talk about it right now, like I feel like they could easily do like a new X-Men series, and then introduce characters like Cassandra Snow, but it'll obviously it's new X-Men, but it still have classic characters like Xavier, Magneto, stuff like that. So maybe it could be like a little bit of a blend or something, but I feel like that would work very easily.
mm, slip that in. She can be an interesting antagonist enough for like if Charles is starting out at school or whatever.
Hmm.
You're like, oh wait, you have a twin sister. Why didn't you tell us about this? Get some like team drama in there. That would be a lot of fun. And honestly,
Yeah.
considering that she wiped the floor clean between not only both of the antagonists, but for a good portion of all of the characters, I think she'd be great as sort of this, yeah, antithesis to like if Magneto is the. I look at the world as the same way as Charles. We both have different methods of fixing it. Um, Cassandra Nova is sort of flipping that on its tail and saying, "What even is the world? Like, what's the whole point of this?" So,
Hmm.
and yeah, that's the movie. Ends in a pretty. It does end. There's no like big applause or like, oh yeah, we finally did it, guys. It ends on a pretty nice note. It's not anything of the sort of like, um, this is what's gonna come next, or this is gonna be the next like big bombastic thing we've got for the X-Men. It does like, yeah, it's a solid ending for Wade Wilson as a character, or at least this version, because I don't know if we'll see him in any more MCU movies. It's a good ending to this version of Hugh Jackman's reprisal of the character. and that's it. Though no over-infested cameos in the after credit scene. Um, until yeah, Disney can figure out, I guess, what they're gonna do with the X-Men next.
Yeah, I feel like they gotta bring. I mean, I don't know. I feel like Deadpool, maybe like as a into his standalone movies, maybe those are coming to an end. But I feel like they'd had like he'd fit so well. I mean, obviously it's rated R, it's different, but it would he'd be able to make great jokes as like a cameo in an Avengers movie or something like that. Like, they kind of had a Daredevil cameo in which one was that? The Daredevil, the TV show Daredevil from Netflix. He made a cameo on in one MCU movie.
Oh,
It was
No
the
Way Home.
Spider-Man. Oh, was it No Way Home? Okay, that's I was like, man, which one was it? I totally forgot. But like something like that, like or even like they can even give him a quick fight scene or something. But um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I think Deadpool. He's. I feel like to me. Okay. Here's the thing. I think Ryan Reynolds as Deadpool is like casting
Yep.
genius. I think he's the best guy to play Deadpool. I can't think of another person to ever play Deadpool. And so I feel like if Ryan Reynolds is down, like if people know that Deadpool's gonna even be a minor part in a movie,
They will watch it.
I
Yeah.
feel like that'll sell seats, man. Yeah, I feel like that'll get people to come into the movie theaters. So as much as like maybe his standalone story might be over, I feel like it won't be the last time we'll see him on the big screen.
Yeah. No, for sure. Because all it takes is Disney saying, "Hey, we'll give you 50 million bucks if you show up for a couple of seconds in a movie."
Yeah.
And that's what Wade. That's another cool joke in the movie too, where he's like, 90 until he's 90 years old, guys.
Until you're 90.
Until you're
Yeah.
90. So Disney. It's crazy that Feige. I think all of these guys understand, and maybe that's the whole point of the narrative of this movie is just coming to terms with the world and where you are and being content with it. Also, like being content with the people around you because you have no idea what the heck is going to happen in times of very weird uncertainty. And I think for that, I think the messaging of the film actually lends itself pretty well. It's not anything that's gonna blow your mind away at all,
Hmm.
but it does drive a decent message home, and for that again, I can applaud it for leading it to that case.
Yeah.
I don't really know if I have anything else to say about like I guess the deeper themes of the movie because they understood what people wanted from this movie.
Yeah. They understood the assignment for sure. It wasn't, I do think that, I don't know, maybe some people could complain about like the fan service done, but
Oh
I
yeah.
thought, I love the fan service, man. I thought that they did well with it, like showing us
Hmm.
Logan in an actual X-Men suit, showing us Gambit in his X-Men suit, or his classic head thing, whatever the hell he's wearing, like stuff like that. Like I really like that. And then showing Blade being cool,
Hmm.
like I thought that the fan service stuff was well done
Yeah.
and not overdone.
Yeah.
So
Not overdone
yeah,
in the Doctor Strange sense
exactly.
of sense of manner.
Yeah, exactly. Doctor, I mean, this isn't the Doctor Strange episode. We've kind of already done that, but yeah, I was, it wasn't the multiverse of madness kind of very poorly done. Um, but yeah, so and the other thing too is maybe because it doesn't have those ridiculous special effects, like they can spend money elsewhere because
Hmm.
like the video effects in Multiverse of Madness have to be kind of crazy because you have like the Inception mirror things
Hmm.
happening in
Hmm. Like
parallel
Doctor
universes.
Strange's powers, as well as
Yeah,
Scarlet Witch's powers, you have to lend yourself to the imagination of what they could do, bending reality as they speak.
exactly. And
Um,
so I'm wondering if
mhm,
that's part of the reason
right.
why.
But here it's like, okay, we just kill a lot of people and splatter blood everywhere, which seems like a lot easier. I'm not a GFX artist, so I have no idea how that role comes into play. But this movie is, for the most part, a bloodfest.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and I can applaud them for I feel like I've said that a billion times tonight, but yeah, they did a really good job with that. And also yeah, we talk about the costume design. I appreciate that if they did use CGI, I mean, it's not really noticeable at all. Like these look like completely practical costumes, like costumes that like you make yourself instead of having a
Hmm.
computer generate it. You know, that's actually kind of what I miss about superheroes. It's like the weird nanotechnology that they sort of popularized with the first Guardians film. You know, where like you know suits come out, like you know, and I get it for Guardians because it's a sci-fi movie. You're in space. Okay, that makes sense. Like, okay, if you're like an astronaut or if you're like jumping from planet to planet, of course, like if you're in space, you want something that like can quickly turn on if you're breathing outside. But every single movie after that, you have like Tony Stark. He's got like one thing, and then his suit like comes out,
Hmm.
and Spider Man, where it like Tom Holland's suit is aesthetically pleasing when it's not covered in a bunch of CGI junk.
Yep. I 100% agree, dude. I wish that more. I don't know. It's and the thing is like I like it's hard. Like, you're giving the video effects artists way more work to do, man. Because especially when something's constantly moving, when it's a person moving around, like the shading that you have, the
Mm-hmm.
shadows, the lighting, everything. It,
Mm-hmm.
it takes so long, dude. And it's for a worse product.
Mm-hmm.
Like why? And to overwork the VFX
Mm-hmm.
artists, like it's just yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I am a
Yeah,
big
yeah.
of the obviously real costumes
Mm-hmm.
that were in this one.
I miss like you know me watching Iron Man so many years ago and being mesmerized by like okay, Tony Stark is getting into a suit, it's lighting up, and
Dude,
he's moving. I'm like that's cinema.
yeah, dude, the first Iron Man is so sick, man. Like, there was actually a video that I wanted to watch, that I haven't yet, but it was on my recommended for YouTube, but it was like, why did CGI peak in like the late 2000s or
Mm-hmm.
early 2010s, which what was the movie that they actually showed? It was Pirates of the Caribbean, the second one, Dead Men Tell No Tales,
Mm-hmm.
or is that the
I
second
think that's
one?
the second one. Yeah.
Yeah, the one with Davy Jones in it. The first one, Davy Jones first appears. So that one is because yeah, like Davy Jones in that movie, he is obviously CGI, but he looks so real, man. Like, why does Davy Jones from 15 years ago or whatever? When did that movie come out? Pirates of the Caribbean. Dead Man's Chest. Oh, no, it's Dead Man's Chest.
Dead
That's what
Man's
it
Chest.
is.
Okay.
2006, bro. Why does that look better than some of the CGI from movies today?
Which doesn't make sense considering that we've technologically advanced exponentially since
Hmm.
2006.
We're talking 20, almost 20 years later now, man. So yeah, anyways, maybe it's because they use more practical effects, and I that wouldn't surprise me because then the video effects artists don't have to spend so much time doing literally everything, you know. But so yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, Logan, Hugh Jackman is wearing an actual suit over himself instead of artists like having to dot their I's and cross their T's on every single moving CGI platform.
Hmm.
You know that we talked about this in like in the first Black Panther movie where the suits would look really cooler if they didn't
Yeah.
use um
CGI.
yeah, CGI for that
Yeah.
final fight.
Yep. The final fight is like so messy and it sucks because like the Black Panther movie, like I like it, like I especially like Killmonger and stuff like that, but the final fight falls kind of flat because the CGI is
CGI is
awful. And
terrible and it looks like a PS2 game.
yeah, actually, I don't, it's funny you say that. I don't remember having that complaint for Black Panther 2, so
No, because
maybe they
it actually like looked decent. but
yeah,
you
yeah.
you know the movie probably got over or under budgeted because of Infinity War. And you look at Infinity War, it's like an objectively like really good looking movie. you
That's
could
true.
so um but no, like I appreciate that they put effort into the suit designs and everything else. Like this feels like a lot more homemade than a lot of the recent Marvel TV show movie film slate out like output. Um,
Yeah.
it doesn't feel like it was a rush studio product that they wanted to put out just for the heck of it. It feels handmade, and this movie is probably gonna break $1 billion. I can already probably see that happening because considering the odd, like, even if it is an R-rated movie, I think people will come out in droves for this, like they did with the first two Deadpool movies.
Oh yeah, dude. The second Deadpool movie made almost $800 million at the box office. I just looked it up because I was like, I need to check. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised because this one's got Wolverine in it, dude. People love Wolverine.
So yeah, it's probably gotten a lot of butts in the seats. But yeah, like we don't have any other MCU projects in the horizon. I think what I appreciate is that they realized, yeah, you guys need to take a break because putting out more products that are mediocre is hurting the vision that people are
Hmm.
trying to figure out. Considering that there isn't one for most of these, and if it is,
Oh yeah.
it's gotten botched. Then I think the next one we got is Captain America, New World Order, or whatever Sam Wilson's Captain America movie is. I'll probably watch it because I love Cap, and I love Cap related characters. I actually appreciate that we got the transition over to Sam. And it's gonna be nice to see Anthony Mackie in that super comic accurate suit, even
Oh
if
yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, they rolled that trailer again, and I guess in theaters. So yeah, that's gonna be. But yeah, this is it. This is what we've got for like.
Yeah.
I don't know if we're gonna come back like December after like during Christmas break, where we'd be like, hey, we're gonna review Venom 3.
Ugh, jeez, man. I haven't seen Venom 2, bro. So I don't know. I did just check though, because I was like, what are the Marvel Phase 5 movies? And you got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Guardians 3, The Marvels, and Deadpool and Wolverine is considered Phase 5. So that being said, we were talking earlier about whether or not Deadpool will show up again. I feel like considering they're including it in the MCU, I feel like the door is
Mhm.
definitely open.
He's probably gonna be in the next like the Secret Wars films if
Oh,
they're
that'd be
still
sick.
slated.
Yeah, that'd be sick. Oh man. Hmm. The Thunderbolt, and then it's the Captain America movie, then
That
Thunderbolts. I don't.
Thunderbolts movie with the new Yelena Belova, the new Black Widow, and a bunch of those other characters probably. I
Oh, I
think that's what
see.
it is.
It's like a team, or
Mm-hmm.
like a team. They're a team of people.
Yep.
Okay, who's in it? Who are the characters, members? Oh, here we go. Okay. Well, yeah. Anyways, that'll be cool. Man, if you're with us right now and you didn't watch the movie, you should definitely go watch it.
We d-
Sorry, we probably just spoiled everything for you,
we
but yeah.
definitely did, but I had a lot of fun talk. Like, shoot, man. Well, it's gone 2 hours. It's like freaking 11:30, but I don't. I mean,
Mhm.
I definitely do feel tired, but uh,
I'm winding down, dude.
yeah, man. I am pretty exhausted, but if you stuck with, we got a couple people join in to continue watching, so we appreciate all you folks. But that is gonna be it for this episode, the ninth episode, first one live, where we talk about Deadpool and Wolverine, and the weird tragedies that they've had to go through in this movie, including a scene where they effed in the Honda Odyssey. I do not care. That's what I'm gonna call it from now on.
That's
But
your headcanon, by the way.
that is definitely my headcanon, but I'm gonna roll with it. Drew, thank you so much again for not only watching it on opening night, but also doing this with me to get all of these thoughts out.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me. Had a lot of fun. I love the movie. Um, can't wait for the next one, man.
Me too. And yeah, until next time, you be you. Take care. Have a great rest of the day, wherever you are.
All right, see ya.
All right. And stream.